Can the Hoosiers continue their winning ways without Malik RENEAU? And Mike Woodson's answer to a question, it was head scratching. Let's get into it.
Pretty simple. I win.
After 3 on the way.
Hello, guys, and welcome to Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. Thank you so much for being here and being part of this community. So we got a lot to talk about. The Hoosiers, they go in, they play USC tomorrow. The football team, they got another recruit, wide receiver, a slot receiver from Michigan, and that is a huge pickup for the Hoosier football team. Just more people coming in. I'll tell you, I don't get too in the weeds on these recruits. You know, I probably will go to the spring game, watch what they look like on the field, because I'll tell you, when it comes to all sports, and I love numbers, and numbers mean a lot. Numbers go a long ways, but I'll tell you, I am more of like a feel person, because like I'm looking at these numbers right now of USC and their players and everything like that. And look, sometimes until you actually see a guy move around and play and do some things, it's really hard to get an idea of what he can do until you see it, if that makes any sense. And we have the contest winner will be revealed on the end of this show. Thank you so much to all of you out there for getting us to 2,000 subscribers. It is huge for the channel. It just means the world to me. Thank you so much for watching the videos. But most people who watch the channel are not subscribed, and it is totally free. So hit that subscribe button down below if you are one of those people whose eyeballs are watching this video right now and you're not sure if you're subscribed or not. Just go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up button. This video is brought to you by BetUS. Use promo code Indiana125 to save 125% on your first 3 deposits, and 10% of the AdSense revenue on the channel will go to T2T.org. Without the veterans, we are nothing. Thank you all for being here today. Without further ado, let's get into talking about the Indiana Hoosiers. All right. So, Mike Woodson, we're going to play the clip here in just a second, because he really said some, like that he has no timetable on RENEAU. It's not a good sign. And it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And I don't know if we're going to make sense of it on this show today or not, but we're going to play the clip here. Hillbilly Monkey, show, what did Mike Woodson say in that presser? Roll it.
Yeah, just want to follow up on Malik. What did he have happen, and when do you expect him back?
Don't know when he's going to be back. It's kind of in medical's hand. I mean, he didn't tear up anything, but don't know when he's going to come back. I really don't. I just got to follow the doctor's leads, and he's got to do what he needs to do to get back when he can, but it won't be anytime soon.
But no structural damage, as far as what you've heard from
As far as I've heard, yes.
Yeah, so this is a little bit baffling. It's like we don't really have a timetable on when he's going to come back. Indiana plays tomorrow night against USC, so we're presuming he is going to be out for this game, and then maybe a game going forward. What type of a sample size will Mike Woodson see without RENEAU on the floor that could let him arrest himself of the idea that he's going to play two bigs at the same time? I do want to say this, like, you go back, and I went back to some clips in August where he did like an interview in August or September, Mike Woodson, and back then he was saying like, well, I guess I'll just try it, maybe try to play two bigs at one time, even though like, it's almost like, why is he sitting there insinuating that it's not going to work? But then he's also insisting that this is how it has to be played at the same time. There's a unconnectiveness that goes on in his brain, and you can see it like in interviews like this, that what he fundamentally thinks as a coach and what you fundamentally think as a person, is made by what you've learned in the past. So Mike Woodson believes a certain system, a certain thing fundamentally that, all of us do not understand, because Maybe we're just watching a different game than he is. He spent all this time in the NBA. What is it? Like, where is the mind block there? Because, yeah, you just go back to those old clips. Back then, my point is, he was telling us back then what we wanted to hear. And then you come up to now, what we see on the court is not what we want to hear. It's like, you can tell us what we want to hear all day long, that you're going to shoot more threes or you're going to play a different style. But as long as you keep starting the same starting lineup, it doesn't matter what you say. It's what you do that's really affecting how people are reacting to you as a coach. I wish somebody was there to help Mike Woodson with some of this stuff. I don't think he realizes how the media is in college, how the media is in Indiana. I think he's realizing these things all little by little, because in the NBA, nobody cares what you say at your press conference. Nobody cares about anything. You play 82 games, you go out to a press conference, you can just say, he shot 26 shots, he shot a percentage, this blah, blah, blah. Like, that's what happened. And then you just walk away and you don't put another thought into it. There's also one other thing I want to talk about on here, because a failure mentality.
Failure mindset. How we handle failure is more important than how we handle success. We're all going to experience failure at some point in our lives, and our attitude about that failure and determines whether we bounce back or fall hard.
Is what I'm going to tell you. I have had this my whole life, knowing that you have to fail to achieve anything. When I first started doing stand-up, like, I went to this place, the Grizzly Pear. I did a lot of open mics there. That was where I did the most at. I knew, like, the first 50 times I did open mics, I went into it with just knowing, like, I am going to fail miserably at this. And also, I think I developed a lot of my cursing at myself and whatnot, because I could not get on stage. I had a stage fright really bad and things. So I would stand back there and like just curse at myself while looking in a mirror. That's how I would really get myself ready to go up. But this failure mentality, like, why can people like Mike Woodson not have this failure mentality? It's because they've already built themselves up in other places. Like, it's really difficult in life to go from you're a head coach of the Knicks or you're the CEO of a company, and then getting moved somewhere else where you're just not going to get that same amount of respect. I mean, as a college basketball coach, Mike Woodson is starting from ground zero. So he's going to be failing many, many times over and over and over again, because he has no experience of this. It takes years of experience, and we know that from watching Signetti. He worked his way up from IUP to this. We know this from watching other coaches. It takes years of cultivating for a coach to actually, get what he wants together. Now, Mike Woodson did a lot of that stuff, and he did it in the NBA with Larry Brown, and those are NBA-minded coaches. And, the 2004 Pistons, that had to be where he really galvanized a lot of the thoughts that he had, because they won the NBA championship then. So Mike Woodson had to, he embraced that style right then, which is what you're going to do. It makes sense. But then time moves on, and unless you're in the college game and seeing how, I was just watching the Wisconsin game last night. Greg Gard, he knows college basketball. That is the one advantage. He has been around the block. Wasn't he the assistant under Bo Ryan? So, some of these guys that have been, but, and I don't really want to get into all this, but the hubris of Mike Woodson, to really drive people out the door, that has had a huge impact on the team, the culture, everything over the last 4 years. I thought about talking about the Colts today, but honestly, I think it's too broken. What has happened in Indianapolis, they bringing back all the same coaches, they are going to lose a lot of fans, everything, the Colts will. So I did just want to mention that. And I don't know if you are a huge Colts fan and you do want to see a big video on the Colts, leave your comment down below. Maybe I will make one, but it's really taken all my time to keep up with what Indiana football recruiting has been doing and Indiana basketball has been doing. Covering those two things on the channel have really taken up a lot of my time. But thank you so much for joining me today. We're got the contest winner here. It is the data designer, Indiana Sports Co. at proton.me. Email me and collect your prize from Rally House. Thank you for all of you for subscribing to the channel. I can't thank you enough. And for leaving your comments down below and being part of this community. The Hoosiers, they have got to get it done against USC. When you look at the gauntlet of games coming up on their schedule, this is one, and USC is not a dominant defensive team. They are not. They are ranked 74th in defensive efficiency. So
I did it.
USC, this is a team Indiana should be able to score around 80 points, and if they can play defense and stop USC in a reasonable way. But the big key to me is Ballo. Like, if Ballo can go out there and play like how he's played in these last couple of games, then I mean, this team can really do anything when he puts it all together. And there shouldn't be a drop-off. He seems pretty focused now, so that's all that matters. Hillbilly Monkey, bring him those stats real quick. We'll just look at a couple of these. So they're shooting 43% on the season. These are some different type of stats here. They're averaging 69.6 points per game. So they're not like some high-scoring team. They're not some great shooting team either. They shoot 32% on threes, which that's what Indiana shoots on the season on threes is where they're at right now. Indiana has to shoot around 39%. I said that yesterday, and they really do. Like, I'm not going to dive into USC. They're not great. Indiana should be able to take care of business against them. I fully expect that. And then we'll really start talking about the games coming up. Iowa on the road. That would be the next one. And see if Indiana they get this win against USC, and say if they could get that win against Iowa on the road. And there's no reason why they can't beat Iowa and the most annoying coach in the land, Fran McCaffrey, whose own son transferred away from Iowa because he's so annoying. There's no reason. If they could win this game against USC and then win the Iowa game, you could look at the gauntlet of games coming up and start to reasonably put together a picture in your mind without being a person that's crazy that could think, could this Indiana team make the tournament? What do you think, Hillbilly Monkey?
Carved from the sands of the Wabash River and formed into a monkey lamp that's sold at Home Goods, it's the Hillbilly Monkey Perspective on Indiana Sports Connection.
I tell you, you are right on that. If they could get this win and then they beat Iowa, confidence, we know from watching the football team that confidence can really run downhill, and it can start and it can be like an avalanche. And if you start winning games and you start believing in yourself, and then there's a collective belief, and if you can get some guys more bought into kind of what is going on out there on the court, you could definitely start to picture it. But you know what? I'm not Bob Ross. I'm not trying to pin a picture for you over here, but I gotta tell you, it's possible. Anything is possible. This is Indiana basketball, and we were really great, and then we were really bad. So anything is possible.
That's right. Anything is possible. And, you know, I do like to try to stay somewhat optimistic. When I watch these games, I do try to separate the players from the coaching and different stuff like that, because it can be frustrating when you look at those coaches and you're like, ugh, like, we got no good assistants, we got no good whatever. But we're going to try to stay positive, you know, and I'm going to stay positive as long as they keep playing better, putting in the effort, and just putting it together. We'll hear more about Malik RENEAU in the coming days. I hope we don't get any more weird answers from Mike Woodson about this thing. Lot of good stuff to be talking about with the Hoosiers. Thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.